Page 1. Under the veil of darkness, two adventurous kids, Jamie and Emily, crept along the desolate sidewalk, their hearts racing with excitement and fear. They had heard about the urban legend of the haunted school that had been closed down for decades, and the stories of ghostly sightings had captivated their imaginations. The school, with its crumbling bricks and overgrown yard, looked like a set from an old horror movie. "This is crazy," Emily whispered, her voice laced with equal parts fear and excitement. "I don't know if I like this idea," Jamie replied, glancing at the towering building that loomed before them. Despite their apprehensions, they had come for one reason only: to explore the mythical halls and uncover the truth behind the whispers of the supernatural. They entered the school through a broken window, their feet making soft thuds on the creaky floorboards. The air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay, a potent reminder of the school's long abandonment. They navigated through the musty hallways, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, revealing the eerie remnants of a once thriving educational institution. As they progressed deeper into the school, they stumbled upon a mysterious room that hadn't been touched by time. The air was thick with a strange energy, and the walls were adorned with bizarre symbols that neither of them recognized. Jamie reached out, tracing the lines with his finger, feeling a cold chill run down his spine. "What do you make of this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Emily stepped closer, studying the symbols intently. "I've never seen anything like this. Maybe it's some kind of code or spell," she suggested, her voice filled with wonder. The room seemed to have a life of its own, as if it was holding a secret, a mystery that had gone unnoticed by the world for years. They knew that whatever they had discovered was significant, perhaps even dangerous, but they couldn't resist the pull of the unknown, the thrill of the adventure that called to them. With a mix of fear and determination on their faces, Jamie and Emily pressed forward, ready to face whatever awaited them in the heart of the haunted school. Page 2. As they investigated the symbols further, their attention was suddenly drawn to a strange sound echoing through the halls. It was a faint whisper, seemingly from another world, sending shivers down their spines. They hesitated for a moment, but their curiosity was too strong. With a nervous laugh, Emily urged, "Let's see what's causing that." Together, they ventured further into the labyrinthine corridors, their flashlights the only beacons in the oppressive darkness. Their exploration led them to a grand staircase that spiraled up into the unknown. Each step they took felt like a step into the past, into the lives of the students and teachers who had once filled the hallways with life. Suddenly, a gust of wind whipped through the stairwell, extinguishing their candles with a hiss. They were plunged into darkness, their hearts pounding with the uncertainty of what had just occurred. As their eyes adjusted to the sudden void of light, a small, glowing figure came into view, hovering at the top of the stairs. The figure was ethereal, a small, translucent girl with long, flowing hair and eyes that seemed to pierce the very souls of those who looked upon her. She was dressed in a tattered dress, and her presence was both haunting and beautiful. Jamie and Emily froze, their breaths shallow and afraid to move. The ghostly girl took a step forward, her eyes fixated on the intruders below. She was silent, her presence speaking volumes. It was as if she was weighing their intentions, deciding whether they were worthy of her story or not. The kids, trembling with fear, tried to communicate, asking her to reveal herself, to share her tale. Slowly, the ghost girl extended a hand, the light from it illuminating her features more clearly. Her expression was one of sadness and loneliness, a stark contrast to the fear that had driven the children to this fateful meeting. It was as if she was reaching out not just for understanding, but for companionship in her isolation. 3. The ghostly figure, the little girl, manifested fully in front of them, her form solidifying with a spectral quality. She looked around, her eyes taking in the kids and their world of the living. Her presence was no longer just a whisper, but a tangible force, chilling the air around them. Jamie and Emily exchanged nervous glances, unsure of what to do next. With a sense of determination, Emily stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "We're just kids, we don't mean any harm. We just want to understand. Please, tell us your story. The little ghost girl, seemingly amused by their audacity, opened her mouth, her voice a spectral echo. I have no story, child. I am a ghost lost in time, seeking solace in the afterlife. Jamie and Emily recoiled, not from fear, but from the eerie realization that this apparition had been trapped, unable to move on. They felt the weight of her loneliness, the unspoken plea for companionship that had brought them to this encounter. They decided to try and befriend the spirit, offering her comfort and understanding. They shared stories of their own lives, hoping to create a connection. To their surprise, the little girl seemed to respond, her eyes softening, her expression no longer one of loneliness but of curiosity. Emily reached out a hand, and much to their amazement, it passed through the ghostly figure, proving that she was indeed a spirit of the other world. However, as they continued their conversation, a shift occurred in the ghost's demeanor. What had started as an opportunity for them to learn about the past became a test of their courage and resolve. The little ghost girl's tone changed, her voice cold and harsh. You should not have come here. This is not your place. Leave, or I will make you leave. The kids, sensing the change in her, taking a step back, realized that their presence was no longer welcome. With a mixture of fear and disappointment, they turned to leave, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that some things are better left unknown. Page 4. As they fled the haunted school, the kids couldn't shake the unsettling encounter with the ghost girl. They knew that their lives would never be the same after their brush with the supernatural. Back at home, they spent hours researching the school's past, digging through old newspapers and online forums, searching for clues about the ghost girl's identity. They eventually found a faded article about a little girl named Sarah, who had died in a fire at the school many years ago. Sarah had been a lonely child with no family or friends, and her untimely death had left her spirit trapped in the building. Armed with this knowledge, they decided to return to the school, this time bringing with them a small bouquet of flowers and a notebook. They believed that perhaps if they could show Sarah that they cared, they might be able to communicate with her in a more meaningful way. They entered the school once more, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, their steps heavier this time, laden with the weight of their encounter. They retraced their steps to the grand staircase, their hearts pounding with a mix of nervousness and hope. As they reached the top, they placed the flowers at the base of the stairs, a small offering to the spirit they had met. They opened their notebook, prepared to write down anything that the ghost might wish to communicate. They waited, the silence stretching out as they held their breaths, hoping against hope that this time, their actions would be received with understanding and not fear. To their surprise, a soft glow seemed to emanate from the flowers, and the ghost girl appeared once again. Her eyes softened, and she reached out to the flowers, her touch causing them to sway gently. You have shown me kindness, children, she whispered, her voice laced with a hint of sadness. I can feel your warmth, your compassion. I am not like the others, who seek to scare and haunt. I am just lost, like a ship adrift on a stormy sea. 5. The kids, armed with this newfound knowledge, felt a surge of determination. They wanted to help Sarah find peace, to guide her spirit to the other side. They opened the notebook and began to write, asking her what she needed to move on, what had kept her tethered to the world of the living. Sarah's eyes bore into them, her gaze unblinking as they scribbled down her words. I need to be remembered, to know that I was not alone in my final moments. If you can do that for me, then I will find my peace. The hours passed, and as the first light of dawn began to seep through the broken windows, Jamie and Emily knew they had to leave. They had promised to help Sarah, and they would honor that promise, but they also knew that their time in the haunted school must come to an end. They closed the notebook, packed away the flowers, and with a solemn nod, they said their goodbyes to the ghost girl. We will come back, Jamie promised, his voice steady despite the fear that still lingered in his heart. We'll make sure you're not forgotten. With a final lingering look at the ghost girl, who now appeared as a serene and radiant figure, the kids descended the stairs, their footsteps light as they made their way out of the school. As they left, they felt a sense of relief, a weight lifted from their shoulders. They had faced their fears and had come out on the other side, changed forever by their encounter with the supernatural. They knew that they had experienced something extraordinary, something that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. The haunted school, once a place of fear and mystery, had become a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of connection, even across the veil between the living and the dead. As they walked away from the crumbling building, the morning sun casting a golden glow on their faces, Jamie and Emily knew that they had not just explored a haunted school, but had found a way to help a lost soul find her peace. The legend of the haunted school would endure, but it would now be a story of friendship and redemption. A tale of two kids who dared to reach out into the unknown and found unexpected companionship in the most unlikely of places.